Dance. A universal term known throughout the world. Whether it is, or we understand it as some form of dance. The question is however, how come we have so many forms of dance? And how has dance changed over the years? So to answer this question, I have to tell you a story. Our story begins in the 1920s. It was a wonderful time. Women had just gotten the right to vote. This is why it was called the Roaring Twenties. They were ready to show men what they could do, and they were going to prove it. So you know what they did? They got dressed in their dresses that were called flappers at this time, and they would go and dance. And how they would dance? They would shimmy their upper torso to the beat of the music. Oh, they would shimmy. Now, also at this time was Prohibition. And because of Prohibition's prohibiting of alcohol in clubs, many people went to underground nightclubs called speakeasies to dance. Now, they were called speakeasies because you would go to the front door and you would whisper the password easily so no one overheard you, hence speakeasy. Now, when at the speakeasies, the dance called the Charleston was evolved and created. The Charleston was known as a scandalous dance at this time. And what it involves, you had to swing your legs and swing your arms to the beat of the music. I know, so scandalous. And this was big at this time because, you know, this was one of the first big energetic dances. And that was what's good. In the 20s, we had energy, passion for dance. But then that would all change in less than 10 years later. At the bottom of every mountain, there's a valley. And this was a valley in dance history. It was the Great Depression. And we shifted our tone from lively clubs to almost nothing, stands for Social Dance Department. And it was true. The Great Depression caused much heartache in this time period. Matter of fact, dance really didn't exist until 1934 when the jitterbug came out. Now, it's not the same jitterbug everyone's thinking about, you know, jitterbug. No, it's not the same one. This jitterbug's a little bit different. It's a couples dance, and this was one of the first couples dance, and they would dance to a beat, but it wasn't, you know, a hardcore beat as we're used to today. It was a softer beat. And it varied, I couldn't really explain to you what it was because it varied on location and your partner choice. But in the late 30s, early 40s, there's this dance called the Lindy Hop was created. Now the Lindy Hop was the dance. It was the Charleston on steroids. This was the dance that had energy, that had pizzazz. More arm swinging, more leg swinging, and now you had a couples dance that was evolved with it. It was beautiful. But we had another obstacle to face, World War II. You see, World War II involved many people at this time. Men had to go overseas and women had to take up the role as the man of the house, basically. No one was at home and there was really no time to have fun. So for a couple years, there was no dancing. But when the war was over, people had this feeling, such pride of being an American, that they went out and they created a new dance. The swing. And this is not the same swing we're used to. This is a softer dance, a more patriotic dance. And it was made to help the troops and give the troops a little, I don't know, a home feeling, I would say. And it was kind of like a waltz with a little bit of, you know, pizzazz to it. Anyway, but, you know, it was something. We were getting back to dance. And it really set the stage for something. It set the stage for a king. Really, Elvis Presley, the king. The 50s brought the king, Elvis Presley, and he brought his you ain't nothing but a hound dog method. He changed the tempo of dance for forever. He came in with his hip swings and his gyration. And he formed a new way of dance. People loved him. Every Friday, Saturday, they would go into the barn and dance all night. And these were called sock hops, and this was famous at this time. But another dance not associated with Elvis was the bop. The bop is not what you think. You know, I think a lot of people think of Grease and the bop. It's not that. The bop is a couple's dance, kind of a little swing in it, but in the middle of it, the partners would separate and do like a little freestyle, you know, up, kind of thing. And it was weird because this has never been thought of before. The bop was something different. And this would be very important 10 years later. And then we moved to the 60s. The 60s were a time of freestyle. We had our mashed potato. It makes you laugh. It is a funny dance. where you would lean in, and then shift your weight to one side. And it wasn't choreographed where you had to have a partner. It was you do your own little dance, you know, mashed potato, you know, that kind of deal. And this was huge in the 60s. It was a new movement, and we were experiencing new things. Now, on the other side of this, we had our opposition. The people who enjoyed the swing were fighting the freestyle dance. Oh, they were fighting it and fighting it. They weren't going to be caught doing no freestyle. We're getting our partners together, and we're doing our choreographed thing. But it didn't really matter because in 10 years, neither of them could compete what was coming. Saturday Night Fever. That was what made the disco era. John Travolta depicted as this ladies' man. Huh. Let me tell you something, people. Every man wanted to be like him. So what they did is they grabbed their full white suit and they took up to the dance floor, that multicolored dance floor. And they were going to show the women what they could do. Whether it was this or this, they were getting down and they were getting that groove thing on. Yeah. A little parched throat. Oh yeah. So another dance depicted at this time that was shown in Saturday Night Fever was the hustle. You know, do the hustle. This was one of the first line dances ever, and this is going to be the first of many to come. And people love this, you know, everyone's getting together, getting it, yeah. And it was something new and something different. But the funny thing about the disco era, it only lasted 10 years, and then after that, people hated it. So that moves us to the 80s. People were against the disco. I don't know what happened. Somebody did something wrong, and the disco went dead. And what comes out of the 80s, we have more freestyle. It's freestyle again. You have dances like, you know, the sprinkler, the twist. Anyone know the twist? Good. Double dream feet, and my favorite, nuclear war on the dance floor, which is also known as rubber knees. And to show you the 80s dances, I brought my friend, Double Dream Feet Man, who will show you 80s dance.
So with your heads down, heel spread the toes apart. Lift your head, so your right knee. That's it. Around and plie again. Knee, shoulder, knee, fast. Around and plie, like what I say. And shrug, step clap. Lift your head. Tight. Double dream feet. Bend your finger. And left foot 8 times. Right foot. Now for the left. For the right. And 2. Double dream feet. Left right. And step. Kick. Touch the side. And right. Second verse. Shoulder, knee, faster, around, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, around, and right leg straight, and shrug, step clap, point your head, hip tight, double dream feet, right legs, tight, left foot, 8 times, right foot, for the left, for the right, and 2, double dream feet, double legs, step kick. Okay, here we go. Slide to the left, slide to the right, and do the cha-cha. Let's do the cha-cha. Again, slide to the left, slide to the right, cha-cha. Let's do the cha-cha. Bounce your shoulders. Release your shoulders. Now slide, slide, clap again, shoulder. Release your shoulders. Double dream feet. Like before, really crank it now. And right foot. 4, 2, double dream feet. Step kick, to the side. High as you want to. Keep it up now. Rubber legs. Do the cha-cha.
the 80s were made up of multiple dance moves that were new to the time period. But also emerging from the 80s was the king of pop, Michael Jackson, with his moonwalk kind of deal. This was new, and it would also be heavily influential into the 90s. Now, the 90s were a good age. I was born in that age. Yeah, everyone gets the joke, huh? Anyway, in the 90s, breakdancing was becoming very popular. You know, that kind of deal. And along with breakdancing was pop dancing because of Michael Jackson's works, and Madonna was coming out. And so you see, as music is becoming newer, so is dance. And this will be very influential in the 21st century. But also coming out is hip-hop with Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back and MC Hammer's You Can't Touch This. With that, oh, and also in the 90s, partner dancing was back. Now, you know, we took a little break. The 80s was all about, you know, let's mix it up a little bit. Let's do your own little thing. So we had our partner dancing was back. And this is key coming into the 21st century. So the end of our tale is today, really. Us. What are we doing? Rap, hip-hop, techno has been big in our dancing. You go to raves and you do your fist pump because of Pauly D. You do your line dances we call, like walk it out and two-step like we did at our dance this weekend, some of us. And we just also do our own little freestyle thing because of the 80s. Now, we in West Louisiana call it different things around the world. We call it jigging and cooking, unlike everything.